Welcome everyone to another episode of Kiwi Talks. I have in the building the man who started it all. He's been there since the genesis with me, and now he's back. I'd like to welcome Dr. Hayden.
Greetings, everybody. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Reece.
Hello. How are we doing?
All righty.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we have to get the music out of the way first before we go down the rabbit hole, as we did last time.
Yeah, the rabbit hole goes very long.
Yes,
so,
it does. So you got a new album out, Autopsy.
Yes. I just put that out this week. It should be up on iTunes, I think tomorrow, Spotify tomorrow. It's available on Bandcamp for free at the moment. You can download it there. If you like it, throw some cash money at me. If not, all good, because I understand, money's hard to come by. So
it is in these days, bro. So how'd the name come about? Why did you choose Autopsy?
First, I just thought it was a really cool name because I like medical stuff, and I saw that and I was like, I think it was one of the lines from one of the tracks I was working on. It was perform an autopsy on myself. It's like kind of dissecting yourself after you're dead, and I've had a bunch of low times and shit like that. So I was just like, I felt that was really kind of a perfect way to sum it up.
Yeah.
So it just came from that, and then. Yeah, pretty much most of the songs on the album are pretty dark, and it's a lot of like introspective, kind of just me kind of working things out in my own head. And so it's kind of like an autopsy of everything I've done.
Oh, sweet, bro. And so like what was the inspiration in terms of the production?
I just had, I got like 200 beats that I've made probably since the last time we talked. So those were my favorite ones of there. Some beats are like super cool and banging, but it just didn't fit the vibe of some tracks. So I just held those ones off. Yeah. But they were just some of my favorite beats from the stuff that I made.
I definitely think it was better than the last one.
Oh, thanks, man.
And that's not saying your last one was bad. I'm just saying it's better. It's like the evolution of it.
Oh, that's really cool because, even one thing I noticed on this one is I was listening back to it and then listening to the album I did before that. And I'm not yelling as much because on the last one I recorded like freaking loud, man. I was like pretty much yelling at the mic. Yeah. And this one I was like, oh, it sounds like I popped a Valium or something before I did all the takes.
And did you record in the same place?
Yeah. In my grand old bedroom.
Nice.
Yep. Got all the blankets and stuff on the wall, and then so budget baby.
Budget baby.
You got to do it when you're broke as hell, though.
Well, that's I think the case for every musician, pretty much.
Unless you got some big money thrown at you and people are paying for producers and studio time and all that. That all comes out of your own pocket, So make every penny count.
I think a lot of the money these days that musicians make is either from touring or merchandise.
Oh, completely.
Yeah. You don't make money from sales.
Well, you used to until the old MP3 came along.
Yeah. Bloody Napster.
Yeah. Damn you, Lars Ulrich. You were right. No. But since the whole paradigm changed, people, because back in the day, like if you heard a song on the radio, you're like, oh, this is fresh. I really like this. You'd have to go out and buy the album if you wanted to hear that. Yeah. And half the times, a lot of the songs I heard, like I remember going to the record store and buying, what was it, Lil Troy? I want to be a baller. Yeah. That whole album is hot garbage. It's fucking terrible. But that song was really catchy. It's not like you can return a CD to the store saying, hey, this sucks. But nowadays, if I heard that song, I could check out the whole album. I could download it for free and be like, yeah, this dude sucks. I like that song. But
but the rest of it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you get, because obviously you get your stats and everything. Like, do you see any pattern with the statistics that you get from like Spotify and YouTube and whatever?
They're all real low.
Dude, I think that's every musician, bro.
I still haven't cracked the 1,000 plays to be acknowledged on Spotify, which is gutting.
You have to be in playlists and stuff, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And people have mentioned that to me, and I'm like, okay, sweet. I just need to find a couple playlists to get on there. And I've submitted stuff to a couple playlists, but I guess maybe they weren't vibing on it or whatever. I think I ended up on that XC dude, his playlist, and I think it stayed there for a little bit. And then, but I think I was like number 300 on the list, and I wasn't really...
I didn't even know he had a list.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, he did. And yeah, so I jumped on there, but I think I was like number 300 in the line. So if you could sit through that much music to get to mine, good on you, because I wouldn't have.
How much music do you actively listen to, though? Because I don't even get a chance really to listen to that much anymore.
24/7, man.
Is that what you do?
Yeah, that's 24/7.
You're jamming.
I can't even go to sleep without something playing in the background, man. I wake up, in the car. First thing, I'm listening to stuff that I really like, and come home. That's what I put on at work all day. I piss off the other guys, but I'm playing whatever I'm feeling at the moment.
I often wonder in, like, say, 20 or 30 years, whether we'll look back on the Lil Waynes and the Drakes the way we do. Like, the Nas's and Jay-Z's and
Yeah,
even
totally
the KRS-Ones and, yeah.
Nas, it's different league, man. It's different talent. And that's my opinion. I mean, everybody's entitled to it, but I think a classic album, you go listen to Tribe Called Quest, and then you listen to, the last Migos album or something like that. It's two totally different things. One's that fast food culture when it comes to music. It's just popping something out. It's popular. People like it. But, people aren't going to have a shitty day, go home and, put on Migos to feel better because it gives them some introspection or anything like that. People will go back and put on, Midnight Marauders or like a classic Tribe Called Quest album, and I'll be like, fuck, I'm feeling exactly what they're saying. They may be feeling oppressed because of the color of their skin or something. That I may not be able to relate with that, but I relate with all the feelings that they put out. Regardless, it's in the core of the emotion that they're putting out, which I don't hear in a lot of that kind of fast food culture music. Just putting out everything, new track every week. Like Future putting out. I don't know. I listen to Future, but his music doesn't touch me like some of that classic stuff does. He's put out, like 20 albums in like 8 years or something crazy.
Yeah. And I suppose that, like, the oversaturation of music makes it harder to kind of click with everything. Yeah. It's easy to, because to be honest, dude, I can listen to a track and within 5 seconds or 10 seconds, I'm like, nah. Next. Yeah. And that's just the result of oversaturation.
But is it also because we're both getting older?
Yes.
Because we touched on that last time. It was like, am I a dinosaur in this hip-hop game?
Yeah.
Because, like, playing in rock bands and stuff like that, I've gone out to plenty of gigs where, like, 45-year-old dads with, like, practically mullets and stuff like that, they get up there and they play these cheesy songs, and everything just sounds super dated.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fall into that category in that version of, like, the hip-hop dinosaurs. Like, oh, look at this dude, rocking hammer pants, and he's stuck in 1985 or something like that.
Yeah, man. I think that's part of the reason I think I moved on to podcasting, bro, is because I thought it was a natural evolution, and I was like, I don't know, man. Like, obviously, for those who don't know, Dr. Hayden and I did a gig on Friday, although by the time this airs, it'll be a week or two.
Hopefully a distant memory.
But yeah, basically, not many people turned up. We have a lot of theories as to why that is. Coronavirus is both.
That's the first tinfoil hat theory. I think that's the most.
Yes. But as we were saying before the show, like, K Road was deserted, man. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I've never seen K Road that deserted. I imagine that maybe roadworks on K Road, alienates people, like, anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Like, like even on Albert Street or other parts of the CBD, when there's roadworks, it's just like, I don't want to go there.
It's a pain in the ass to get through.
Yeah. Even like driving or walking,
Like even just to get to the show, I had to park like almost 2 kilometers down the road and like walk uphill.
Yeah.
It was just like, that was the nearest parking I could find. I felt really bad for anybody else who drove out there as well. Because, it's just a pain in the ass to actually get to the damn venue.
Yeah, totally.
And then you throw that little coronavirus that's getting way too out of hand at the moment. You throw that in there.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, where'd all the people go? I'm like, were you outside with me when there was dudes with straight up like masks just walking around?
Yep.
I was like, this ain't downtown Hong Kong, bro.
And even that food court we went to, there was quite a few people wearing masks and stuff.
And they're wearing the wrong masks.
Yep.
They were just wearing like the generic surgical masks. You're supposed to be wearing those 95 micron filter things. You just look like a dick.
Yeah.
And you're afraid.
And one of the things I think that a lot of people forget is Okay, the masks are designed for people that already have the coronavirus so they don't give it to anyone else. If you're wearing it and you do not have the coronavirus, you're not actually protecting yourself from the coronavirus.
You're protecting yourself from looking like a rational human being.
Yeah. Like you wearing the mask just makes people think, okay, that person has the coronavirus. Yeah.
And then all these people see that and like, oh, maybe I should put on a mask. And it turns into this fucking idiocy that we see. Like, yeah.
I think we covered this at the show, but like people are sheep.
Oh, yeah.
They just follow the trends, you know.
But it's fear mongering. Look at what the media did with the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, there was so much irresponsible reporting in New Zealand, especially. I thought that was really irresponsible, the way that like Stuff and a few of those like online sites, basically, they made it seem like it's the apocalypse coming. Which is, if you're not trying to create fear and panic, it's not good for anybody. That's when you get like all those that huge influx of people at the supermarket buying up all this stuff because they're under the impression that this is the apocalypse. That's the way that the media portrays it. You don't have to sugarcoat it, but be completely honest with the realities of this.
Yes.
There's always going to be diseases and viruses out there. This one's prominent because it's been spreading. But yeah, it's not the end of the world like they make it seem.
No, it definitely isn't. I mean, obviously, yes, be cautious, but there's no need to buy 100 rolls of toilet paper.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're taking some mean-ass shits every day, like...
Yeah.
There's no need for you to do that.
Unless you got Taco Bell on speed dial. Leave the toilet papers in the stores.
Have you been to Taco Bell here in West Auckland?
No. I have a real big problem paying like $12 for a combo that used to be like $2 back in the States.
Yeah. I remember when I went to the States and I came back here, I was like, fuck, man, we're getting ripped off.
They have a dollar menu for a reason. The things on the dollar menu over there are actually $1.
Yeah.
Here, it's like the $6 taco. It's like... That's not cool.
Nah.
The whole point of Taco Bell is like cheap. Okay, I'm completely wasted and want to go get some food on the cheap.
Yeah.
I go to Taco Bell. It's not fine dining, you know?
Nah, I mean, I ate there recently.
What'd you think?
I thought it was okay. Like, I don't really remember the Taco Bell in America so much. Like, I remember it tasting really, really good. And this was okay, but for what I paid for it, I was like, nah, this is not worth it.
Yeah.
I'd rather go smash Wendy's or something.
Wendy's is way too expensive here. It's like pretty much...
Every fast food is expensive here compared to the States. Actually, anything food related is expensive here.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah. Like, here's one of the things I've always wondered, right? Like, I understand why obesity is a big problem in the States. Because food is so cheap, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you can get like so much food, like even just buying a combo, it's massive. Like our largest combo would
like
be this small.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I understand the whole obesity thing in the States. I don't understand why it's a big thing here because I'm like, food's so damn expensive, man. How can you afford to be a fatty?
You need to be a millionaire. Yeah. In the States as well, there's so much high fructose corn syrup in everything.
Right.
And what the government does is they subsidize that for the farmers to produce corn to get the high fructose corn syrup.
Okay.
And they just pump it into everything. Like if you were to buy a Coke from the supermarket here, like a can of Coke, you look on it, it'll say cane sugar. If you go to the States, that same Coke is going to say, or one of the first two ingredients after water is going to be high fructose corn syrup. They pump that into everything. And it's so cheap. I mean, pretty much anything, even stuff that you get that isn't sweet is still pumped full of that. And that contributes to the obesity epidemic they have there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Check it out. It's full on.
Yeah.
The government is basically giving the okay to this. And that's why they have insane amounts of really big people there and such high diabetes and stuff. Food's cheap and it's pumped full of sugar.
And because of the health care system as well, that does not help.
More like health, we don't care. Man, that's for such a developed country. That's third world. That's third world with their healthcare system. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've never understood that. I've never understood why why the healthcare system is so backwards there. But I suppose it's because a lot of the pharmaceutical companies make so much money.
And that's one of the 2 developed countries where you can actually advertise pharmaceuticals on TV. Like you'll watch commercials and then they'll say, you know, are you feeling down, depressed, something, and just list off like a million symptoms. And you're like, oh, okay, maybe I am. It's like, talk to your doctor about this medicine. So it's not the doctor's recommendation that's getting you hooked to it. It's you thinking you need this medicine.
Right.
And it's like, oh, maybe I am depressed and maybe I do have loose stools or something like that. You know, it just kind of adds fuel to it. And that's why the pharmaceutical industry there is so huge. It's absolutely massive.
Would you be for a sugar tax here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I think that's really smart.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think the problem is like healthy food here is so much more expensive than junk food, you know. And like I've got this habit of when I go to like grocery shopping or Pack and Save or whatever, like I look in other people's trolleys, and honestly, the amount of times I see like Coke bottles, like heaps and heaps of bread for some reason, bread, like chips, like all lollies, you know, chocolate.
Yeah. Basically eating like a big toddler.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just shocking how much food. Like, bread is the weirdest one, though, man. Why do you need 20 loaves of bread? And it's not even like it's like white bread, which is like the worst.
There's no
type
nutrition
of bread.
in that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just carbohydrates.
Yeah.
But I think bread is cheap and it fills you up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the one upside. If you're broke as hell, you can buy a loaf of bread for a couple bucks and that'll keep you going for a few days.
You could get rice, though.
Yeah, exactly. But that's more effort to prepare.
Yeah, people are lazy here.
Oh yeah. I'm part of that as well. I want something quick and easy. You know, I don't want to spend half an hour making a dinner. I'd rather, you know, call Uber Eats and get McDonald's to my door. But I actively try and not do that because it's not good for me.
So do you use Uber Eats quite a bit? I've never used it.
Really, it's amazing.
That's probably why I don't want to try it, because I have an addictive personality. So then I might use it.
Oh yeah, because
I also think my missus would not let me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculously convenient, but when you extrapolate like the amount of physical labor you had to do at work to get the money to do that, it's like $50 to get a meal delivered. It's like, man, I had to work a few hours to do that. Is it worth 2 hours of my time at work to actually have that convenience?
Yeah, and I suppose I like, particularly in Auckland, for example, like, you know, the commuting would take it out of you, man.
Oh, it sucks.
Like, I think I worked out when I was there, I spent 36 days a year in traffic when I calculated it all up, day by day. So over the course of a year, it was 36 days. And I remember just feeling so tired. Like, I'd leave work, I think at 5, might take me in, you know, I might get home at 6:30 or something. Then I'd go straight to the gym, probably get home at like 7:45.
I'm surprised you had the energy for that, man.
Well, back then I was single too.
That makes all the difference.
Yeah. And like I'd come home and then I'd cook like the easiest meal ever, like a small tiny ass meal, like just chicken and broccoli or something, like nothing amazing. And then I'd go in and like make beats for the rest of the night, and that was like my routine. But like since being down here, I have all this extra free time. Like even driving up for like the gig on Friday, I hit traffic in Huntly and then again in South Auckland. But like the traffic has gotten so much worse just in the time that I've left. And like,
it makes you realize how lucky you are to not have that. Going back is probably a big shock to say, I used to endure this. It probably wasn't quite as bad, but it's still absolutely insane. I mean, the fact that there's been times where I could have walked to work faster than I could have drove.
Yeah.
And I look at that and it's like, I don't even live that far away from work. But these kind of things happen. It's just the infrastructure there is not built for the amount of people
it's not.
that travel through there. And it would be all good if they had a good public transit system. Like, how sweet is it hopping on a train and getting to work? You don't have to worry about anything, all that. Save yourself some money in gas and parking. But they don't have that yet, which is basically, it's throwing people in this awkward position where they have to commute and commit or basically contribute to the problem, which is making it worse because they don't have a better solution.
Yeah, and then you add in the fact, like, you've got a huge influx of people, right, from overseas and even nationally that move to Auckland because obviously that's where a majority of the work is. It's not like, say, Australia where, like, you have opportunities in multiple cities. Like, you know, if you don't want to go to Sydney, you can go to Melbourne. You
Yeah.
can even go to Brisbane.
At least
you know?
it's spread out that way.
Yeah. Like New Zealand is not really set up that way. It's like designed. I suppose it's similar to like Britain in terms of like, because you've got a third of the population in one place, similar to like Britain, where all of it's based in London, pretty much. But the difference is, in London, if you don't have to live there in order to work there, like you can live outside the city.
When is commute in?
Yeah, via train, you know, because their public transport system is really, really good. But we don't have that in Auckland, and I think that's one of the biggest problems. I mean, housing and traffic congestion, I think, are the two biggest problems that Auckland has. The housing thing, I don't think is going to be fixed, because that's the same problem in any major city: Sydney, New York, LA, Mumbai, you know, London, whatever. Housing is always going to be expensive.
The big difference is the housing issue has really hit in about the last 10 years is where it's gotten crazy.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody's listening to this outside of New Zealand, I would literally be looking at spending $1 million to own a house in Auckland, where I live. $1 million.
That's if you're lucky.
If you're lucky. Like, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, investing into some property or something like that. That's probably, realistically, that's probably more money than I'm going to make in my entire life.
Yeah.
Into something that shouldn't cost that.
Would you think about buying like an investment property elsewhere?
Possibly. It's probably the only way it's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I think, what was it? 25% of people spend over 40% of their income on housing in Auckland, which is just insane. The fact that you work so much just to have a place to live, just to exist, is fucking disheartening, man.
Well, the way housing is set up, it's become like a business. And all it does is it sets people up so the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Because it's like you're paying someone else to get wealthy. That's what like a mortgage is. You're paying off their debt. Yeah.
When you're renting, you're basically paying off their mortgage.
Yeah.
And you have the privilege of living there temporarily while they get their mortgage paid for.
Yeah, that's right. And then like, how are you supposed to save and pay their mortgage?
But looking at, I don't even live in a big place at all, but looking at the cost of buying something like that and repaying it is even greater than my expenditure on weekly rent.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm between a rock and a hard place, and both of them suck. So what are you supposed to do? It's either make more money or find some way around it to get more money. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the I suppose the revelation that I had when I was in Auckland. Like, I didn't really want to leave Auckland, and I know some people outside of Auckland are probably thinking, what? Because there's a bit of a Auckland versus New Zealand sort of thing, mentality, right? Like, a lot of people in Auckland are like, why would you live somewhere else? Like, and then people outside of Auckland are like, why do you want to live in Auckland?
Yeah, it's expensive. The traffic sucks. But there's opportunities there.
Yeah, there's opportunities there. There's a lot of stuff to do, you know, a lot of different people to meet. Like, there are great things about Auckland. I mean, you got a beach like near you wherever you are, pretty much. It's pretty great. And then you're still close. Like, even if you want to leave, you can still go to the Coromandel, you can go to the Bay of Islands. It's not that far. But like, yeah, it's just I don't know what's going to happen over the next 10 years, But I mean, I've obviously had a few people on this show, but more and more people are moving kind of Waikato, Bay of Plenty way.
That's probably because they can afford it. At least you're getting more bang for your buck when it comes to the amount of land you have. Yeah,
well, the other thing, like Tauranga, for example, right? A lot of people, if they own a house in Auckland, they sell their house and downsize to a ridiculously nice place in Tauranga.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, because I'm not sure if you've been to Tauranga much, but the houses are ridiculously nice there. Ridiculously nice.
Well, it's like, would you rather have a little shoebox in a big poppin' town, or for that same thing you could trade it in like afford to purchase like a really nice place with some land? It's just the location thing. If you can get over that whole location thing, you're sweet. Like, that's why if I could ever like do work from home or something like that, I'd get the hell out of Auckland immediately. Just save up some money and do that. But I don't have that, you know, opportunity yet.
Yeah, and most of the, particularly with certain industries, or the work is in Auckland, which is Interesting. Well, like I had a journalist on here, Frances Cook, and she was saying that a lot of the media personalities, you know, they all have to be based in Auckland, pretty much. And like I think people just assume that they're very wealthy, but they're not. Most of them aren't, man. They're living pay week to pay week.
Really?
Yeah. But you see them on television, and you
get a completely different impression of them.
But I've even got that with like musicians. I've met some musicians that are really successful in terms of, you know, their music's popping, they're doing really well, but then they're like living in their mum's garage or something, and it's like, what the hell?
But it's putting that illusion out that you're more important than you actually are, or you have more than you say. It's like these dudes. I've heard like 16-year-old kids rapping about like their Bugattis and Lambos in the garage. It's like, son, you don't even have your driver's license.
Yeah.
But that's what people hear, and that's what people like to emulate. And I find most of the music that I've been listening to, like it may be catching all that. If you listen kind of past what, you know, the beat is and everything, a lot of them just saying, you know, all this stuff that I got. You know, I got all this money. I got all these hoes. I got all this, you know, I got my mansion in the Hollywood Hills. And then you look, and then you check out their Instagrams and stuff like that, and, you know, they're riding around in like really fancy cars. Most of those dudes have leased cars, and a lot of the places that they have are rentals, like properties. It's this big illusion, but people don't like to support people that look broke. They want to see the guy that doesn't need money and give them the money. That's my interpretation of it anyway. There's a bunch of dudes that kind of try and fake the funk. They're like, you know, I came from nothing. It's like, actually, if you realize your background, you actually went to a private school and all this sort of stuff. But they're like, man, I came up hard selling drugs on the streets. It's like, that's what you want to portray yourself as. What is your intention as an artist? Is it to just paint this fantasy picture, and you know, and that's what people feed into, and that's what people think are you, or that think like your story is? But if it's totally fake, then why are you doing that? Why are you constructing that? It's the weirdest thing, man.
And it's harder to keep up the lie.
Oh yeah.
To try and keep up that lie, because you lose track of what you're lying about.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
It's one of my guilty pleasures. I hop on YouTube and watch these interviews with like these, you know, double XL, like freshman pitches and stuff like that. And these dudes are like, you know, I grew up on the streets and stuff like that. You know, F snitches, you know, nobody can touch me. I'm straight gangster. And then there's videos of them getting a punch and then going to the police and giving a statement and stuff like that. And they're coming out and they're saying like, oh, fuck 6ix9ine, he's a snitch. But if you go back through, do a bit of research on them, they're out there singing to the police about the exact same thing that they're, you know, trying to discredit, which is ridiculous.
Dude, I get that with the show, bro. Like, because obviously I meet a lot of people and they're trying to sell me stuff in terms of, hey, you should get me on your show because of this. I've done this, you know. And people don't realize, man, I'm like, I research people before they come on this show. Like, and it's not hard.
Which
I'm
you should.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm on Facebook. I can see whether you're lying or not, you know? Like, it's like, come on, man. Like, just be upfront and transparent with me. Yeah.
People will relate a lot more if you're just open. Like,
yeah.
And that's one thing I've realized. You know, I started off doing like, I think I was listening to a lot of Bone Thugs. I was putting out tracks in like 99, which, you know, in like 99,
it's
I was
99.
Like, I'm popping the clip in the Mac 10. I was saying that kind of stuff. And then my friend came up to me and he's like, why are you singing about that, man? I was just like, you know, that's what I do. Like, that's what I listen to and all that. And I was just like, maybe I should probably do something that I actually do. You know, I mean, it's hard to, you know, rap about, you know, it's not as cool, but like, you know, rapping about going to school or whatever I was trying to do. But now my thing is like, at least I'm honest, coming out and talking about, hey, my head gives me trouble. You know, I go crazy sometimes, and I talk about that sort of stuff. And I talk about, you know, not making money from all the effort that I put into making music and stuff like that. But I need that music to survive because that's my vent, that's my ventilation system. You know,
it's your therapy.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so I'd rather be. I think any artist should be open and honest, even if it's not flattering.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may not be as poppin', but you get a hell of a lot more respect.
Yeah.
And I think respect is way more important than money.
Yeah.
I mean, to an extent.
Respect is, well, should be the #1 currency.
Should be.
But it's not. I mean, and you do need money to survive.
Oh, exactly. And that's where it is. But if you have enough to live a comfortable life, you know, nothing flashy, I think having respect is that's what makes everything else gel together, man.
Yeah. I agree.
Because so many people sell their souls for money.
Yeah, and you can tell, man. You can tell. And I mean, you could have all the money in the world and still not be happy, man.
Lil Pump, he put out a tweet, or not a tweet, maybe it was on Instagram or something like that. He was like, this is the worst I've ever felt in my life. And he literally just signed a $6 million deal, like a couple months earlier.
Yeah.
And it's like, no matter where you are, you take your problems with you. Some problems go away with money, but I'm sure you get a lot more that come with it.
Yeah.
And regardless, you know, you can't just throw money at things to make them go away. I mean, if you probably can if you got Elon Musk cash or something like that, but you're always going to be that same person, just with a little bit more money or a little bit less money, but that respect stays.
Yeah.
Or the lack of respect.
That's right.
And you carry that. You carry that. That's your legacy. You know, if people just know that you're, you know, just lying all the time and go behind people's backs and stuff like that, that comes around to you. You can have money, but if people don't look at you with respect, then what do you got? You may be rich in cash, but you're poor in soul, you know?
You know Tom Francis?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect example, you know, right? Shitting on people, obviously, Dills. Shoutouts to Dills, man. He's one of the nicest guys I've met.
I haven't met you yet, but I dig your stuff, and you seem like a cool dude.
Yeah, he is a cool dude, man. I met him for the first time a couple of months back, and yeah, he's a really, really nice guy. Lives up to the name he has for himself. You know, there's a lot of assholes in rap, bro. Like, in terms of rappers that you can... Like,
too many.
Yeah. I've met a lot of dicks over the years, just like, you know, so full of themselves, talk out their ass. Like, you know, the whole fake it till you make it sort of thing. That can apply in certain instances, but there's certain things where you can't apply that, and people can see right through it.
Yeah.
I mean,
but most of the people that are throwing that out, they don't know that the facade isn't working for them. I mean, I'm sure it fools some people. But
oh, yeah, it probably does.
If you know, the people who have been through it and all that stuff, they can just see right through that. And then you just have to take that. You almost have to laugh at it like, you know, I see what you're doing, but, you know, later, dude.
Yeah. Nah, I hate it, eh? And like, yeah. Even with, because obviously I'm quite public on LinkedIn, you know. I'm reasonably known on there. And obviously I get reached out to a lot by people that want to come on my show.
You get reach-arounds from people that want to come on the show.
Reach-arounds, yeah.
You don't know how many I had to do to get back on the show here. I'm not proud.
And some of the people that I meet for like coffee and stuff, and they try and pitch me their ideas or like what they've done and stuff, and I'm just like, dude, I can see right through it, man. You know, saying like you're a millionaire, but you're dressing like, you know, you go to Save Mart or something. I'm like, I mean, hey, you could be a millionaire, but but I can work it all out, right? Like if you're say you're a millionaire and you're living in like a hood as area, you don't.
They're just keeping it real with the streets.
Well, usually, and you know, with business people are very, I don't know, they're more conscious of, you know, appearance. You know, like usually suits or dressed very well.
Yeah.
But some of these people that I've met, I'm just like, are you serious? Like trying to sell me that you're rich? I've actually met some really wealthy dudes. And you can just tell with the way they carry themselves, like that they are wealthy, you know, and there's some people that you can just tell, man. I mean, I think from doing podcasting as well, it's made me, it's given me the ability to be able to see through the bullshit.
Which is good.
Yeah. There's sometimes when a guest is on and they're talking, and I'm like, politicians, bro.
Oh, that's their job, is shoveling bullshit.
I know,
to get
but
you
like,
to buy
it's like, come on, man. I'm like, you're a politician. You're supposed to be good at lying. Like, yeah, but it's like, come on, you know. But like, I sit in this hard place where I'm like, do I call them out on it, or do I just give them the platform and let them stick their own foot in their mouth?
Yeah. Well, it depends how you want to come across, but you don't want to alienate your audience.
Yeah, yeah. And also, like, I could have two politicians on from, like, different parties, and then one could be, like, all good, and I don't have to say anything, and then the other isn't. But then if I call the other one out, then I'm accused of being biased.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it's like, can't win either way.
Yeah, I just tend to just take my nose out of that and let people give them enough rope to hang themselves with when it comes to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose from doing, having a lot of politicians on this show, it's been enlightening, that's for sure. Yeah.
But now you're that much better because of that.
Yeah. Did I tell you that, like, so last year there was, like, the Hamilton local elections? Or the local elections everywhere,
I know
right?
you got the one of the candidates on there. Or you got the mayor, eh?
I got the mayor and I got 3 of the candidates. And one of the candidates ended up becoming mayor. I keep seeing her at events, and she's like, hey, when are you getting me back on the show? And I'm like, I'll get you back on the show.
I'll make some time.
I was just like, I want to let you settle into the role first, you know, because you haven't even been mayor that long. So I thought I was doing her a favor, but, like, she's pretty keen to come on, so I will have to get her back on. But, like, I got so hyped from doing some of those political episodes. I was like, yeah, man, I want to get into politics.
Because we were talking about that last time.
Yeah. Because I was like, I'm like, oh, maybe I can make a difference. But in hindsight, I'm like, nah, man. You don't want to be shoveling bullshit. I was just caught up in the hype, I think. And I was like, yeah. But nah, I don't want to do what they do, man. Yeah. How would that?
That's selling your soul as well.
And I don't even think my partner would want me to do that. She's like, no, I don't want to get hate mail.
You're going to have people that are going to love you regardless of what you do, and you're going to have people that hate you. You're just instantly going to polarize yourself with so many people. Regardless, if they're not affiliated with that party that you're with, that they don't want anything to do with you.
Nah, they don't.
So, I mean, is it worth the trade-off? You know, if you can get a good paycheck, but most of the people in there that want to go in and make a difference, they always have people throwing money at them, lobbyists, and people saying, hey, do this for me, and we'll do this for you. And it's just really shady, man. I mean, there's always the exception. I think Jacinda has actually got a good head on her shoulders, and I think that's a much better look for New Zealand as a whole.
Well, on the international stage, Jacinda, like, top notch, man. Like, I can't think of any prime minister who is, like, that famous, that well known, has put us on, you know, on the international stage very, very well. Yeah. Like, obviously, a result of that, it comes from negative circumstances, obviously, with the Christchurch massacre, like the way she handled that. But yeah, man, I'm one of those dudes that I don't lean either way. Like, I just look at the policies, and from that I make a decision. But there's some people that take politics like that. It's like a sense of tribalism for them. They want their party to win. Regardless of whether the leader is shit, their policies are crap. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's like, no, I am for National, or I am for Labour. Like, and like, if you're on the other side, then you are my enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, what?
But that's not looking at the policies. I think you have to judge all that on an individual basis. What is this person going to do to make life better for us? Versus what is the other person going to do? Yeah. Like, it's really horrible. I have family members who just kind of blindly go along with Trump because they're diehard Republicans. And they, regardless of what stupid thing Trump said or done, they just kind of turn a blind eye to it because they listen to Fox News and they're like, oh, well, that's just the media out to get Trump. Yeah. And it's really stupid, but, you know, that's unfortunately the way that's the world we live in. People are indoctrinated into that mentality, and they just keep following that because, you know, it's that feedback loop of, you know, you have all these people that have the same kind of feelings as you, and you don't want to turn your back on that because that's going to alienate you from them, and that's the people that you surround yourself with.
Yeah, your echo chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. And it's very easy to get caught up in that and not even realize you're caught up in it. Like, I've found, even from doing this podcast, like, that it's opened my mind. I realized how narrow-minded I was about a lot of things. And it's very, very interesting sometimes from going from like a rapper to like a chief executive of a company and just seeing the massive difference in terms of how they view things, you know? Yeah. So and the problem is it's really easy to get caught up in your little bubble and not even know that that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody has that ability to reflect on themselves and say, am I believing this because of facts, or am I just believing this because, you know, that's what everybody else is telling me to do?
Yeah.
And you see that so often. We can break off into religion very easily from there.
Yeah.
You know, it's those people that, you know, were born, you know, going to church a few times a week and stuff like that, which in itself isn't harmful. But when you start using that as justification for, you know, bigotry or racism or something like that, that's when it turns into something that's not helpful. It's a good way. Like I reckon if you're religious, do that. If that's what makes you happy, that's what you believe in your heart, do it. But there's so many people that use that as an excuse for, you know, looking down because this guy married another guy or kissed another dude or something like that. You're going to hell and that sort of thing. And you automatically just shun those people because of what a book says that was written.
That you were probably indoctrinated with since you were younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just talking to, like, because I was obviously just at the bar before with Carlos Hicks watching some UFC stuff, but we got onto this conversation about being indoctrinated with a specific religion from birth. And what actually happens is you view it as part of your identity to the point that it's difficult to separate yourself from it without feeling like, oh, no, I've abandoned who I was or I've abandoned my culture. And sometimes those things intertwine, you know, religion and culture.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, like if you're Indian, more than likely you'll be a Hindu. If you're from Pakistan, you might be a Muslim, you know. Even
that's your community. That's
even Polynesians, you know. Like,
that's what you're brought up into.
Yeah.
And that shapes the way that you view the world because of exactly what your parents tell you, you know, don't do this because you'll go to hell or whatever. And the thing is, I'm all for religion. I reckon it can be a really good tool, but it can also be mishandled and used for very wrong reasons.
I agree. I mean, like as someone who used to go to church quite a lot, and now on the other side, like I do see the good side of it. I think it's good. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that maybe be addicted to drugs or, you know, have alcohol problems or, I don't know, domestic violence problems or whatever, right? And, you know, they go to church and that helps them get through it, particularly like a community that's there to support you, right? But then other times it can be used as a weapon.
Oh, yeah. And unfortunately, it's the same thing with, like, you know, child molesters in the church in there. It's a small minority of people that do this, but it gives everybody a bad name on that whole side. And, you know, and it happens in so many different areas. Like, you know, there's, you know, the extremists when it comes to religion. You know, back when 9/11 happened, there was just this huge influx of racism that was brought on because a very, very small group of people decided to do something, and that turned people xenophobic. And people didn't want people with turbans walking around in New York City and stuff like that. And these things scare people. See, that's religion used for the wrong reasons. Not building yourself. That's for tearing somebody else down to make you feel better.
And a majority of those people who, you know, are scared and get caught up in the hysteria probably don't know anyone from that community. They haven't been, you know, subjected to that way of life. So therefore they don't understand it. And misunderstanding can lead to fear.
No, yeah.
I mean,
people fear the unknown. It's human nature. If something's foreign and strange to you, then you're not gonna resonate with that.
Yeah.
Unless you actually, there was that dude. The movie The Black Klansman was based on it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie yet. I really do want to watch it though.
It's just I'm sure you already know the story, but it's just basically this dude who got involved in the KKK, a black dude. Yeah. He would just, he would talk to these guys on the phone. He basically infiltrated them, and he's gotten 22 people to leave the KKK just because they sat down and they talked with him, and they actually had a good conversation, and they didn't realize that he wasn't just a skin color. He was actually a person with some good things to say.
Yeah.
And that actually reflected that, hey, there's some errors in my thinking here. It's not all the fault of, you know, these other people that are living amongst us. You know, with slavery, that was a really shitty situation. And, you know, that they have a lot of things to be angry about, but all they wanted to do is just kind of share their experiences and, hey, we're all people, we're all on this earth together.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And I commend that dude. I think it's absolutely amazing that he could turn around 22 like people higher up in the KKK.
If you think about discrimination or racism and stuff, it's not something you're born with, it's something you learn.
Oh, completely.
You know, through various means, you know, like racism, for example, right? I think I've nailed it down to 3 things that kind of triggers it. Either you inherit it from like family, you know, or second way could be through, you know, you get associated with a specific community or, you know, group or even a genre of music or whatever, you know. Or the third one, which I think this is probably the most common way, is if you're subjected to a specific group of people, ethnic group, and they're all negative experiences, you're going to begin to start having like racial views.
Yeah.
Because you've never seen anything different. Like, and obviously, like the most common case would probably be Māoris, right? Like, there's a lot of people that just hate on Māoris
because they have a negative stereotype. For
yeah.
whatever reason.
And look, I mean, I don't know how much racism I've suffered from Māoris and negative experiences I've had with Māoris. But with that being said, like, I know a lot of fucking cool Māoris as well. Like, even Māoris that I've had on this show are like some of the coolest. But then, like, I can understand why there'd be some people that are just like, oh, you know, bloody Māoris, rah, because it's like, okay, well, this is the only experience you've had with them, which has shaped your view. Yeah. And it's the same with like white people as well, you know, or another type of ethnic group. You know, there's some people just, oh, I don't like Indians because da-da-da-da, or I don't like Chinese people because of da-da-da-da. You know, and like you're even seeing like racism with Chinese people over the whole coronavirus thing.
Yeah,
to circle back to that.
There was like, you know, hate letters and stuff that were going to the dude that actually he isolated himself to his house because he actually got coronavirus. He isolated himself to his house, and I think they were either like spray painting his house or sending him some hate mail and stuff like that. It's just like, come on, dude. It doesn't really matter what race or religion you are. This could happen to anybody. Why?
Yeah.
It's not the fault that somebody got coronavirus because they're Asian. It's not their fault because that happened. To tell you the truth, I think it's the fault of the people who didn't screen them coming through the airport and just letting people in willy-nilly, not taking it seriously. I actually think it's the government's fault in that regard, because there's always going to be stuff out there. But if you put up little roadblocks to check everybody that comes through, it may be inconvenient. But if you said, okay, here, let's do a little temperature scan, and they're 3 degrees above whatever the normal is that could potentially be a carrier of that, check that. But I know personally people that have come through recently on flights that didn't get checked.
Yeah, and I think that's the case for a lot of Western countries. If you look at it right, do you remember how, like, when the outbreak first happened in China, like, everyone was shitting on China, like, and now as time goes on, everyone's like, oh, okay, well, China actually handled that, like, really well compared to how Western countries, because they
could have handled it better.
Oh, yeah, by not having it. But what I mean is once it did happen, they shut shit down. Yeah. Like, they locked everything down.
Which is a smart thing to do, is actually taking it serious.
Yeah, because I've heard in the States, like, they're not even screening. Like, it could have been there since December and nobody was even testing. They're still not doing enough tests, you know. And, like, even in New Zealand, I don't know what the Ministry of Health and the government are doing. I mean, you're not getting screened at all at the border or anything. You know, we haven't even banned flights from South Korea or Japan. Yeah. Maybe that may have happened by the time this airs. I don't know.
I think it's foolish not taking things serious. It's better to err on the side of caution, and that way we wouldn't get to these moments that we have now.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll always be the occasional one that slips through and it becomes like you know, a freak accident that, you know, a few people got infected here and there, like Ebola in Africa. That pops up sporadically, but when it does, they tend to isolate everything and take it very seriously.
Yeah.
But they're not doing that here, or at least I hope that they're on the way to do that. Because if we turn this entire place into like just a shut down city, people are mentioning, you know, have enough rations for 14 days and stuff like that. And, you know, if you're getting sick, isolate yourself for 14 days or whatever. That it's creating fear that shouldn't have been there in the first place. If, you know, what's that whole adage? A stitch in time saves 9.
Yeah.
A little bit more effort and a little bit of inconveniencing people going through the airport, you know, ask them, because some people, they'll go through the airport and they're feeling sick or whatever. The only reason one of the people who got confirmed with coronavirus actually came forward and said anything is because they actually felt that they were getting sick and they could potentially have it. And it turns out they did. Now, most people aren't actually going to go and say, hey, I think I've got coronavirus coming off of a plane. They're not going to do that. It's completely selfish, but it's just that fear thing. And if you're not screening people and you're not taking it seriously, we're going to end up in a much worse position tomorrow than we are today.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And like, it's really bad, because then some of the people that have self-isolated themselves, I mean, there was one that was getting bullied online,
yeah,
I think, as a result of it. And obviously the Ministry of Health was like saying,
maybe that was the same one I was talking about earlier.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. And like, don't do that, you know. But I mean, I do think, like, if you're coming back from overseas with a country that potentially has cases, don't then go book a domestic flight somewhere or like
go to a Tool concert.
Yeah, I mean, that's just amateur, man.
Yeah. To anybody who may be listening, wonder what we're talking about, there was a person with coronavirus that went to the Tool concert last weekend. And yeah, so now they're like, oh, well, there could potentially be people from the 30,000 people that attended that concert who may have it as a consequence. It's like, don't be selfish. Just a little bit of patience to say, hey, I'll sit this out. You know?
I don't think the self-isolate thing's going to work, to be honest.
That it's basically
you'd have to have like some repercussions in place to make sure that people do it. Like, I think in Singapore, if you're caught like spreading it, or like you're supposed to self-isolate and you don't, you get like a $20,000 fine or something.
Sweet. I'm all for that. Whatever gets people to start taking it more serious. It's like the same thing with people who are really sick and go to work. Yeah, you need to earn a few bucks for your family, but is it worthwhile jeopardizing everybody else at your work to spread that sickness?
And we have a healthcare system that, you know, will support people with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be worried in places like America, because
oh yeah, it
like people aren't
there.
going to stay home. They'll just be like, nah, I've got to pay the bills. Because I've heard, and like Kevin Posey echoed this as well, but that a lot of people in America live pay week to pay week.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
I don't even know what to say to that, because
but hey, for what it's worth, I live pay week to pay week while I'm here as well. And
it's only because you're in Auckland, bro. If you didn't live in Auckland, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I'd be balling. I'd be having a mansion.
Dude, people see the studio and they're like, "Oh, Reece is really rich." I'm like, "Nah, dude, I'm not." I'm honored that you think that, but no, I'm not. I'm definitely not rich.
Rich in spirit, man.
Yeah, man. Rich
That's all that matters.
But dude, like, if I lived in Auckland, there's no way I would have been able to build this.
Yeah.
No way. No way.
But that's you adjusting to the circumstances, to figuring out what you can do with what you have, which is commendable.
Yeah. Because I often have like a lot of Aucklanders on here, and I'll ask them, I'm like, do you always plan to stay in Auckland? Or do you ever want to move? And most of the time they're like, nah. And then there's some, like Ryan Lovins, I think he's contemplating doing it, but I think the main thing is his kids. He doesn't want to move his kids out, but he's kind of like, oh, fuck Auckland, you know, fucking living in this rent, living pay week to pay with these stupid bills.
No, what's crazy though, if you go to Detroit, 1 in 4 houses are abandoned. You can basically go in to one in Detroit. Yeah. If you go to some place in Ohio, is it Akron, Ohio? You can get a 3 or 4 bedroom house for $80,000 US.
Yeah.
You can get a house, which is still less than a tenth of what you'd pay here.
But you still have dual citizenship, right? In
Yeah.
America. So you could move back to America.
In theory, I've actually contemplated it a bit.
Yeah.
Just on the sheer fact that, you know, I want to be able to own a house to, you know, give to my family, you know, and have having some investment or something that's going to, you know, last more than kind of temporarily. And I think that'd be really nice. But also, I love New Zealand. It's you know, it's my home. You know, I've been back and forth since I was a kid. And my mom's a Kiwi, so I have so much.
You have attachment to the country.
This feels like home.
Yeah.
This feels like home.
Okay.
So, but
would you ever like move to another city? Would you contemplate it, or is it just based on work?
It's based on work, and you know, if I can't do what I do somewhere else, then it's not going to work out. You know.
So, as in, like, would there be the industry be in other cities, but like there would just be smaller amounts of it? Have you ever looked at like, say, like Wellington or Christchurch or anything? Or?
I haven't really, but when I look at the prices of houses in Wellington, it's getting up there as well.
Yeah, well, the part of the problem with Wellington is, you know, the city, the way it's designed and just its location, because it's surrounded by mountainous terrain. You don't have the housing there, and you can't build there. Like, it's just, I'm not sure if you've been to Wellington before.
I have. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, like I love the city. I think the CBD there is way better than Auckland's, like in terms of it being walkable, and it's just got a really good vibe to it. Some of the housing,
some of the housing, flat land,
and some of the housing, like because a group of us went there for the Eminem concert, and we stayed in this house, and it was crappy as, bro. Like, luckily we were there during summer, but I'd imagine during winter that would be a very, very depressing place to be. And some of it, like the carpet's all, you know, that musty smell.
This like old dank,
funky. Because some of the housing there is not good. You'd probably have to live in Upper Hutt or Lower Hutt or something. But and then also there's the added problem of it on a fucking fault line.
That's not ideal. What do you do though? It's like you know, what do you do?
Yeah, well that's why,
because you don't want Christchurch Mark II coming through to a place that you live.
Nah. I mean, I to be honest, when I left Auckland, I was contemplating on Melbourne, Brisbane, or Hamilton. And the only reason why I chose Hamilton is because my family had just moved to Cambridge. So I was like, okay, cool. My family's still close. I was like, and I still had a lot of ties to Auckland. I'm like, it's still close to Auckland. I could have gone to Melbourne. I could have gone to Brisbane, but I didn't. I only had a few friends there. And to me, I was just like, that's just another version of Auckland. I'm just going to a bigger version of Auckland. And like Melbourne, for example, it has the same problems of Auckland with like housing and stuff. Like, I just set myself down a path. I was like, I have to buy a house. Like, I was just determined to do it, like no matter what, at whatever cost. But when we were at the gig and stuff, I was like, man, I miss Auckland sometimes.
Even though those people walking around in coronavirus masks. And
you don't see that shit here, but like it's just got a good vibe, you know, and like you can just it's got a lot of atmosphere. I mean, obviously not on Friday because there was hardly anyone there, but like just the multicultural aspect. You know,
it's a lovely place. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the greatest cities in the world. But it's unrealistic to want to purchase a house for the average person there.
Yeah, well, I say it went from being the city of sales to the city for millionaires, because
pretty much
if you're wealthy, man,
it's your oyster, man.
Yeah,
you can do
awesome.
anything.
Yeah,
but it was Auckland, I think Sydney, and I want to say Toronto or one of the Canadian cities, Vancouver. They, over the last 10 years, their housing prices has done the exact same thing that Auckland has.
Yeah.
Just because of people coming over and purchasing large amounts of land just as an investment, which makes it, you know, it's harder to get land there now because so many people want it. And yeah, Auckland was one of the 3 cities that happened to. So it's like it'd be the exact same thing as moving to Sydney or moving to, I think it is Vancouver. Thing is, what do you do?
The thing is, the government.
I'm just venting frustration here.
Well, so I just had a professor from the University of Waikato who
was it Professor X?
No,
that would be really cool. He would just read your mind through the whole thing.
Yeah, he probably.
You're lying, Reece.
If he shaved his head, he probably could look a little bit like Professor X, but yeah, he wouldn't do that. But he's a British guy, you know, with a British accent.
Sidestepping, who's your favorite X-Man or X-woman?
X-Men, probably. It's cliche, but I'll probably say Wolverine.
He is pretty tits, huh?
Yeah.
He's Canadian, actually.
Is he?
Yeah. Did you check it out?
I am, because you know how they'll eventually bring in X-Men into the MCU, into the Marvel.
Oh,
cinematic. Yeah. Like, that'll happen eventually. I'm wondering who they're going to get to play Wolverine, because
Hugh Jackman is so perfect.
I know, but like by the time that happens, he'll be like 80. I don't know, but
he can just take a.
But he is cemented as Wolverine. Like, say how Robert Downey Jr. is with Iron Man.
Yeah.
So
you can't think of a better person. I mean, they're so iconic with that. Even if you look at the old comic books, I'm like, hey, that's like pretty much Hugh Jackman.
I haven't even seen that movie Joker yet, because Heath Ledger is still so iconic as the Joker for me.
That was one of the best performances of all time.
Yes, I agree. I love that movie. Like, I remember when that movie came out, I was so obsessed with it. Like, every time I did a rap, I'd chuck in some Joker line. Like,
I remember there's something in my ledger, something Heath. I remember that from one of the tracks you did.
Yeah. But there was one, I can't remember what it was, and I was like, I said something. I'm like, oh, this makes me delirious. And then I go, why so serious? Just an opportunity to say. And then, like, I did it with a track with a mate of mine, and he hadn't seen the movie, and he's like, what the hell are you doing?
You're just being a weirdo, dude.
Yeah.
I saw the new Joker movie, and everybody, like, because it was really built up, because they're like, oh, this is Oscar-worthy performance. And
He won the Oscar.
Did he?
Yeah.
Good on him. That movie is a completely different beast than The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Completely different beast. And it's two versions of Joker, both done really well. Heath Ledger's my man. The first time I saw that movie was, 2.5 hours? I walked out of the cinema saying, I could watch this again right now.
Yeah,
and I got a short attention span. It was that gripping and that good.
Yeah.
With the last Joker, I was like, it was a bit dreary, and it didn't have enough kind of going on. Have you seen Taxi Driver, Robert De Niro?
Yes.
It's a real slow burn like that.
Oh, right.
I love Taxi Driver. The first time I watched it, it's like, what's all the hype about? And I watched it a few more times, and it's the slow kind of de-evolution of a man kind of breaking down mentally, and it's the exact same thing with the new Joker movie.
Yeah. Well, I suppose over time, like, they'll keep evolving a lot of these villains and comic book superheroes and all that jazz. Like, superhero films these days tend to be like how Westerns were. You know how there's like a phase where like cinema kind of goes through these different phases where they focus on, there was the whole 90s action with Arnie and Sly and stuff. And
those are the best movies of all time, by the way.
And like, you even had like Westerns and stuff. I feel kind of like we're in the superhero era.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like every third movie that comes out follows that.
Yeah, like I haven't, because Batman versus Superman like put such a bad taste in my mouth. I'm like, oh fuck DC. I'm not watching any more DC films, and I haven't since. I
didn't think it was that bad. Everybody else is like, this sucks.
I thought Ben Affleck was good as Batman, but I thought
he was salty Batman. Batman should be salty.
Yeah. Like, I thought it was good, and the fight scenes were good and stuff, but like there was just I just didn't like it. And then Dawn of Justice, what is it? The Justice League movie.
I didn't watch that.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. I thought it was all right, but
I like Wonder Woman.
I think in contrast to what Marvel were doing with all the Avengers films. I mean, I love Infinity War and I love Endgame, man. I like, they always seem to stick the landing, like those guys.
Oh yeah.
Like, I was so hyped for Endgame. Like, I went to the premiere, and I was just praying that they didn't fuck it up. I was just like, but they stuck the landing beautifully. I thought it was very well
They took out one of my favorite characters, and I was just like, that hits me so much harder than like, so many other things. But if you see a character that you treasure and, you spend a bunch of time with them on screen, you're like, my heart hurts.
Yeah. Because like my missus hadn't seen like the Avengers movies, and she was like, why are you so hyped to watch this Endgame movie? I'm like, you don't understand. You don't understand.
This is the coup de grace.
Yeah, the previous, it's a lead up from the other movies, and the previous movie ended on such a cliffhanger. And she was like, oh, okay. And then obviously I watched it. I didn't make her watch every single Marvel film because that would have taken
in order.
Yeah.
We're watching it 3 days before the premiere of Endgame.
But before it came out on Blu-ray, like we just watched the main ones. So a couple of the Iron Mans, the Avengers movies, Civil War, and then obviously we watched Infinity War. And at the end, like when everybody, spoiler tag, half of like the whole crew die, and she was like, oh, now I understand. She's like, man, this must have been hard for you waiting for a year. I'm like, hell yeah, I just wanted to know how it ended.
It's like watching my puppy die on the big screen,
Did you watch that like in cinemas? Like, yeah. I remember like everyone's like
Yeah,
Like,
that's gasp worthy.
Yeah.
But you feel like part of your soul's been ripped out. You spent all this time with these people.
Yeah. There's not actually that many. The one film I'm hyped to see this year is because I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan.
Oh, he's the man. He is absolute man.
Like Tenet is the one I want to see.
I haven't even heard of that.
So you should watch the trailer. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm wondering if it might actually secretly be a sequel to Inception.
Ooh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, but I don't know for sure. But it's weird because it's got sequences that are forward and backward in time at the same time. So like a boat is like on the water, but the waves are going backwards. Or like they're driving and a car is going backwards at the same time. It's real buzzy, bro. It's like forward and time. It's like Memento. You know how Memento's forward and backwards?
Yeah.
And then they meet in the middle. It's like that at the same time. It's real buzzy.
Nolan's the master of the head fuck movies, man.
Yeah, he is.
Like Inception was awesome, which tied right into from the Marvel universe. Doctor Strange. I thought that was one of the best Marvel movies. Dude.
Yes, I agree.
And know what the best part is? The new Doctor Strange is going to be Marvel's first horror film.
Yes,
so to speak.
I heard about that.
I was just like, oh my god, that sounds amazing. I'm glad you're down with the Nolan. He makes a long movie, but he makes a damn good one.
Yeah, I think like if I had to give you like my top 10 or even 20 movies, I think a majority of Christopher Nolan films would be in there. Like, yeah, like I love Memento, Prestige.
Prestige is so good. I've seen that.
I think it's
15
underrated.
Times.
I think it's underrated. Every time I watch that movie, like I spot something that I didn't before. Yeah.
Fight Club's the same way.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't do it, but there's all these little kind of hints and clues that you catch on later on.
I found that recently with Shutter Island as well. That was another one I watched again recently.
I need to watch that again.
Yeah. Martin Scorsese. Yeah.
Was that him who did that?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I haven't watched Irishman yet. I think it's the 3-hour running time. I
made it about 2.5 hours into it, and I was just like, But I probably just need to give it another fair crack.
Sometimes like you have to be in the right mindset to watch some of these films. Like I think if I went in watching Inception with just like a shut off movie like Fast and Furious or something, I think like because if you go for a bathroom break in Inception, you'll come back and you'll be like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on right now. Like I went with my brother and he fell asleep like partway through it and then he woke up at the end.
That just
and then everyone was like, oh, at the end with the
spinny top.
The spinny top thing. And he's like, what happened? What's going on? I was like, just watch the film again, bro. I'm not going to explain it to you.
If you ever want a really good movie to watch, it's not like Fast and the Furious, but it's a mind expanding movie. There's a movie called Waking Life. Have you heard of it?
No.
Okay. It's basically about 15 or 20 people. It just follows them around and during the movie, and they just explain their philosophies on life. It doesn't sound amazing or anything, but oh my god, it's basically people's interpretation of what makes life meaningful, the things that drive them and keep going. But it's all rotoscopes, so they filmed it live action and drew over it, so things can kind of like morph into different things. They'll be talking about, are you awake right now? Or are you dreaming? The only way to know is because you'll look at the clock and the numbers will get jumbled and stuff like that, and then it starts happening on the screen and things.
Is it on Netflix?
No. But it's, in my opinion, one of the... You'll walk away a better person for that. Yeah. Because you'll learn so much about, people's different experiences in life. Like, being human is so weird because, there's so many different facets that we only focus on such a narrow part that's right in front of us. And there's a guy in there. It's one of the most poignant scenes. It's not going to ruin the movie, but he's just talking about. It's like, what's the purpose of life? We're just all walking towards the future, but we don't know where we're going. I'm all theory and no action. I have all this, all this passion about something, but I don't know what to do. And so he's sitting there and talking to the camera guy, and he's filling up a gas can while he's talking. And he's like, so I can do the only thing I can do. And that's this. And he just pours the gas on himself and lights him on fire right there. I was just like, oh my God. But that's just one of the many stories kind of involved in here. But it's that kind of stuff. And you listen to it and you're like, holy shit, there's so many people that have so many different viewpoints. And this is just a little glimpse into some other things.
Yeah. And what's it called?
Waking Life.
Waking Life. Okay. All right.
Don't watch it if you're stoned. It'll fuck with you. I haven't watched it stoned, and I don't wish to. But it's a great movie.
Okay. I'll definitely watch it. I'll convince my missus to watch it too. I am watching a lot more movies these days. I don't really watch television series or anything anymore because time, you know, you have to invest a lot of time into like television.
Most television's trash anyway.
Yeah, well, even some of those Netflix seasons and stuff. I think the last one I watched was Black Mirror, which was cool. I did love Black Mirror.
I only saw one episode.
Was that the one with the fucking pig?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Fucking pig.
Yeah, so the very first episode, the Prime Minister of the UK has to fuck a pig.
Fornicate with swine.
Yeah, but like I imagine for a lot of people they'd watch that and be like, what the hell is this shit? Why am I watching this? You know, but the rest of the episodes are very different. Like every episode is different. Like some of them are really twisted, man.
Because aren't they all based in the future of future scenarios?
It's kind of based around technology or future technology, and some of it is quite scary. So I'll give you an example. So
I remember seeing the one that I saw. It was people like survived on Facebook likes or something like that.
Yes, that was the one I was going to tell you about, and that was before China implemented their social credit system.
Really?
Which they now have.
Yeah.
So, like, it makes me think, I'm like, okay, some of this technology is going to become a reality.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite ones is they have this thing, like, you have it inside your head, and it's like your brain, what you see, that's like stored permanently. It's like your brain is a hard drive. And so everything you see, you can go back and watch it.
Was that like Minority Report? Maybe I'm
like similar. I suppose you could say it's like that. But like anyway, in this episode, this guy, you know, he thinks his missus is having an affair or something. So like he uses like memories to like try and be a detective and like.
Is he successful in finding out what happens?
I don't want to ruin it for you, bro. Just watch that one episode if you can.
All right, send me a link or something to that one after this.
Yep. No, it's good. It's good. Have you got Netflix?
Yeah. And chill.
Netflix and chill.
Chill for you. Yeah, most of the stuff I end up watching on TV, like I'm a dude that like goes 100%, and as soon as I get a chance to sit on the couch and watch something and calm down, I'll just like straight up fall asleep. So, watching a movie, it needs to be really, really captivating. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that's like this.
Yeah. No, it's pretty good. Some of them are like, some of those episodes can be slow, and some of them are just like, why in the hell did I watch this? Like, I'm gonna have some
opening beverage in 3, 2, 1. Oh, that was a little premature.
Yeah.
Story of my life.
That's all right. Yeah. He's just drinking V for those who are listening.
Delicious V, made in New Zealand, contains.
Well, it's not made in China.
Yes. It contains sugar, not high fructose corn syrup.
That's good. Yeah. Do you have any allergies? Are you allergic to anything?
Whack rappers.
That's all right. I have the same allergy.
Yeah, man, it's quite common with old folks like us. No serious allergies. No. But what do you liked Kevin Posey though, wouldn't? Yeah, he was amazing, man.
Yeah.
He was like, it's nice to see some other dudes doing, you know, art that I appreciate, and you know, because I don't think his name's out there very much at the moment.
No, I don't. I
did see him performing. He was performing on stage with Masbu Q in like a big festival. I was like, that's awesome. He needs to get some recognition, because
I think him being associated with Masbu Q, aka Unchained XL.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I still prefer Unchained XL as a name.
That's a good name.
Yeah. I'm gutted he changed it, but hey, it is what it is. But like, I think being associated with him will raise his profile. I'm not sure how long he's been in New Zealand actually, but like, I really enjoyed my chat with him. Like, you know how there's that stereotype, and this is my fault, but you know, like, you watch too many movies and like when I was in Seattle, like the African Americans I met were very different to the ones that I met. Well, like from Kevin Posey, because he's very soft spoken. He's like super, super nice. He's like, hey man, yo,
he's just a chill dude.
Yeah, hey man, I'm Kevin Posey. Yo,
were you expecting a caricature?
No, but you know how like you speak like, yo man, what's up? You know, I'm Kevin Posey.
Yeah,
you know, like, but he wasn't like that. He was just like real, like, he was smooth. Like, I think that's the vibe I got him.
No, he's really soft spoken, a very, very laid back, chill kind of dude.
Yeah. And even having him on the show, because that was the first time I met him, right? So I think I had the wrong expectations, because I met him and he was like, hey man,
what do you expect, Chris Tucker from Friday or something?
I don't know what to be honest, I don't know what I was expecting, but like, I suppose I wasn't expecting like someone with like such a like to be soft spoken and stuff. But he was just like, yo.
He's really articulate, and he makes amazing music, and he seems like a nice guy. So
he's a super nice guy, man.
Yeah.
I got nothing but love for him, honestly. Like, he just messaged me today, like, because he doesn't usually message me. He sends me like voice messages via Facebook. He'd be like, hey man, yo, it's good seeing you.
I could listen to his voice. Yeah, I could listen to his voice sending me messages.
Man. It's smooth, man. Yeah.
He really likes Pharrell. That's like his biggest influence.
Yeah, but he's like, he could do so many things. Like, for a lot of people that don't know, I mean, I've done a podcast with him, so if you don't know what the hell we're talking about, then
watch that episode.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah, he is a cool dude. But like, he scores film, he scores games, he does hip hop, he does jazz. He's a singer, he raps, and he's a mean freestyler too, bro.
Really?
Like, yeah, like the bit that he did at the end of my show, he freestyled that. He did like 3 versions of it, and everyone was different. Like,
really?
Yeah, and he just made stuff up on the spot. I was just like, bro,
that's awesome.
This guy is so talented, man. Yeah, so like I got nothing but love for that guy, man. I wish him all the best, eh?
Definitely, I'd like to see him.
That's why it's cool seeing him.
Yeah, next time I see a show that he's performing at, I'll do my best to swoop out and go there.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed with the sound person at that gig, to be honest.
Yeah,
yeah, like because I'm not sure. Like, I had to yell during my set because like I couldn't hear, and that's why like towards the end I was like losing my voice. One of your boys came up to me afterwards. He's like, "Yo, man," because I think he's like, "Yo, man," because the New Zealand Chop is where I rap like real fast.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Yo, that was so dope," and like I had lost my voice. I'm like, "Thanks, man."
That's so different. Yeah, my voice went down about an octave after that show as well.
Yeah, like I
was talking like this for the whole night.
Like, that's why right after my set I went and got water. I was like, water. I'm like, I didn't even go to my missus. I was just like, nah, water, because it was fried.
Because we were talking the other day about sound guys and shows, and I think the last time you had me on, we're talking about, you know, a bad sound guy can ruin a whole show. Here's just a funny little story which just popped into my head the other day. Now, I performed out in a place called Fairbanks, Alaska, which is like a good 4 or 5 hour drive from Anchorage, which is like the big city. And there's only like 50,000 people there, like 50. And you know, there's not that much going on as far as the music scene. So they got like a bunch of groups from Anchorage, where I was from, and we all kind of traveled up there and did this kind of like mini sort of one-stop tour, I guess. You know, we all got up there and did our thing. Now, the night before I arrived in, or the night before the show, we stayed the night in Fairbanks. I get up there and we go to the strip club, okay?
Okay.
And I go in there and, you know, I'm getting loose, you know, having a good time, drinking way too much and just, you know, just being obnoxious and all that. I have a big mouth on me for being a little dude after I've had a lot to drink. So I'm out in the parking lot and I see this. He was a shorter guy, but he was stocky as hell. Like
Crooks?
yeah. Like him, but a lot older and a bit more beef on him. And I don't know what started it, but I just started like cussing him out in the parking lot afterwards. I was like, I wasn't being very nice to him. Anyways, I have a semi-recognizable face. So I show up the next night to this show. Guess who the sound guy is?
Oh, it was him.
It was him. So I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? So I actually got up on stage, and before I even performed, I said, oh, here's a little funny anecdote from last night, and told him, you know, basically I went out to a strip club, was leaving, and was being an asshole to this dude in the parking lot. Lo and behold, during my set, guess whose microphone cut out multiple times? Yeah, happened to me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Moral of the story is, don't fuck with the sound guys.
He basically had a shirt that said that as well.
Yeah. Don't fuck with the sound guy.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you shouldn't, man. You shouldn't. Yeah.
So if I ever go back to Fairbanks and he manages to mix sound for me again, please let my microphone.
Or maybe just give him a hug, bro, and be like, hey, bro.
No, because I fully apologized to him. I was like, dude, I am so sorry. You know, I was just acting a fool. And he was like, yeah. And then, just every 30 seconds, my mic would cut out. I was just like, oh, man.
So what's the moral of that story?
Don't be a dick.
Yeah. Well, that's the power of sound, guys, eh?
Yeah.
And the thing is, because I used to do sound as well, so I get a little pissed off if I'm performing, because I'm like, you're doing this wrong. You should be putting the vocals up more. I should have more in my... But when we did sound check, it was okay. but then we went to perform.
Maybe there's just so many people that messed up the whole sound.
Yeah, all 10 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will say to the 10 people that came through, that meant the world to me.
Yeah. And they were awesome too. They were very, very supportive.
It's a massive amount of support. I wish there was more people out there doing that, but that meant the world to me. I mean, there's nothing sadder than performing to an empty venue. And I've done that so many times before.
I've done that a few times as well. Yeah, and it's like the worst. It's the worst. It's just
it's a humbling experience though, and I'm still kind of recovering from that in the last 2 days because I had this, music is this one thing that I put so much time into and so much effort, and it means the world to me. And I'm just hoping to share that with people, and I'm broke all the time, but I put my own money into, get it up on Spotify, and I put my own money into getting the posters printed, my time to handle the promotion aspects and stuff like that. And I get out there and there's not the turnout I was expecting. I take that as like a huge blow to my ego. It's like, I deserve better than this kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like, I don't want to come across cocky and saying, oh, I know my music's good. I know everybody here, they have really good music. It deserves more than this.
Yeah, it deserves more attention. I think it's just... Yeah, let's just blame Corona, bro.
I will.
The end of time, we will blame the coronavirus. Even when this coronavirus is all done with, we can look back on this in 10 years and still be like, fuck the coronavirus, man.
Yeah, fully, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
My missus is like, you didn't do the dishes. Sorry, coronavirus. You've been late 8 times this month to work. Coronavirus, dude.
Yeah. It's good to be prepared, though. But like a lot of my friends wouldn't come to the gig like, no, we're not coming to Auckland, coronavirus. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, there's 1.7 million people in Auckland.
Yeah.
You could probably lick 1 million people in China,
and still walk away.
And still walk away. Okay. I think you'll be okay if you come to Auckland.
Yeah.
Next minute, I stop the podcasts because I'm sorry, I have to self-isolate for 14 days.
I think that would be really fun as an artist, is to have 14 days isolated. I think that would be such a cool thing.
To be honest, dude, if I actually had to self-isolate for 14 days, I think I'd be okay.
Yeah.
Because I could just chill in the studio. Like, I could probably get back to making music or doing beats. I could write rhymes. Like,
should we go actively find coronavirus and just get ourselves...
Well, how do you actively find it? You'd have to, like... I don't even know who the individuals are that have it. I mean...
We can find it, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Let's look for like FU coronavirus, like spray paint on somebody's wall, and then go in that house and give them a big hug and say, I feel your pain, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get the virus from you.
Yeah. But I think, how Jacinda handles this will depend on whether she is re-elected or not. I think people are paying, because people have short memories too. So they're only going to remember the coronavirus because obviously election is in September. So they're going to be like,
that's the hot topic.
Yeah. I appeared on this Canadian podcast, and this guy, he reached out to me recently and he was asking me for some help on a few things. And he was like, I tried to get Jacinda Ardern on my show, but she only does domestic podcasts. He's like, oh, you should get her on. And I said, well, I have tried to get her on, but she's ridiculously busy with elections and also coronavirus. So like, she has
got her hands full.
Yeah, has no free time. And he's like, oh, she's going to win the election easy. And I'm like, dude, you don't live in New Zealand, so don't presume like you know everything. I mean, there's a lot of people that do not like her. There's a lot of people that love her, but like
internationally, she's recognized. For what she is,
like an icon of peace or something. Like, yeah, she's like the Mother Teresa of politics or something.
Yeah.
But like,
I wouldn't go that far. But people do
you
have
know
that
what
view
I mean,
of it.
Yeah. But what I mean is like a lot of people love her, pretty much, and it's good. Like people don't understand that actually our international image is very, very important. Like it can help in terms of trade and a number of other things, right?
It's nice that even just gets New Zealand on the map, because usually it's just this thing below Australia that nobody in the rest of the world pays much attention to.
Yeah.
But Jacinda's actually brought a lot of attention our way, and most of it's been for the better with her.
Yeah.
Which is super cool, because
particularly in tourism as well, I'm not sure if you watched that Stephen Colbert piece that he did on us.
No.
So I think Tourism New Zealand, I think they spent, I got to get this right, $80,000? Don't quote me on that. On marketing. So Stephen Colbert came to New Zealand and did a whole bunch of like these little marketing pieces for New Zealand.
What, like him petting a sheep or something?
No. So the first episode, he spent the day with Jacinda, and it was brilliantly done. Like, they made Jacinda out like to be awesome, which I'm sure she is. Even if you don't agree with her politics, I think as a person you can tell she's a very nice person.
Yeah.
And then I think the second episode, what was it on? I can't remember. Oh, he was in Wellington, I think, and they showed him around Wellington. I think the third episode was rugby. He went and played rugby, and then the fourth one, he met with Peter Jackson and he did the skit, like his own version of Lord of the Rings. It was bloody brilliant.
I'm gonna watch this now.
Yeah. I'll send you the links. And then the last one was him just exploring like the South Island, and then he did bungee jumping and stuff. But in terms of the marketing, like people were complaining like, oh, $80,000 of tax is wasted.
That's nothing.
I'm like, dude, he has like a 5 million, like, in terms of
audience
followers.
base.
Yeah. Like, if not more.
Yeah.
It's like, it's money well spent. And I think even Tourism New Zealand said there was like a huge surge in people wanting to visit New Zealand. Obviously, probably the coronavirus has fucked that up for us now. But
if anybody wants to buy plane tickets, they're real cheap right now.
Yeah. Like, I saw some domestic flights. Like, I was thinking of going to Queenstown later in the year.
Do it. It's amazing.
Yeah. I do want to go. Like, because you know how I do those drone videos?
Yeah, those are amazing.
Yeah, at the beginning of my podcasts.
I couldn't think of a better place to do it than Queenstown.
Well, there's a lot of places I'd like to shoot, but the thing is with the Civil Aviation Authority, there's a lot of places you're not allowed to fly.
Yeah.
So I either have to get like drone operators to hook me up with their footage, like professional ones. Like, I could get a license, but I think that's like $5,000.
Yeesh.
And I'm like, nah.
The drone already cost $2,000. How much are you gonna milk me for?
Yeah. So we're just kind of keeping an eye out. But like, obviously, I won't be going overseas anytime this year. Me and my partner.
Why not?
What? Me and my partner.
Not because of coronavirus.
What's that?
Not because of coronavirus.
Well, possibly not because we're scared of the coronavirus, but if you fly somewhere and then they decide to like ban all flights,
yeah, it would kind of suck.
And
if
then
you're stuck in the middle of
yeah,
nowhere.
you're stuck like, let's say like if we wanted to go to India and we fly via Singapore, and obviously Singapore has had quite a few cases, and then they just stop flights in Singapore, you're like, oh.
Damn, what am I going to do now?
Yeah, you're trapped there. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. What do? Just live in the airport?
They made a movie about that with Tom Hanks.
Terminal. Yeah, and he was stuck there. I don't want to be that guy.
But that was a good movie. A lot of people saw it.
I'd have to learn Russian. The terminal,
Iloski.
I drink vodka, Yes. Cool, man. I might wrap up there unless there's anything else you wanted to cover.
No, nothing. Nothing I want to cover.
There was the story you wanted to tell. Was that the story you wanted to tell before?
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah.
I got a couple other ones, though. Well, it was one time at a show, I just had my wisdom teeth out, like 2 days before, and you're not really supposed to do much with your mouth and the first couple days after you get your wisdom teeth out.
Yeah.
So I went out there and I was performing. It's a really good show and everything. Little did I know, this is me like packed to the gills on Demerol, which is like this hardcore painkiller they gave me, and I was like doing my thing, rapping. Little did I know somebody spilled a drink on the floor. So I'm rapping, I go, whoop, slip back like a banana peel style, fall flat on my back, microphone like hits my mouth or whatever, and I continue rapping.
Oh, bro.
That's how into it I was. I kept going. I think I dusted myself off. I was a little bit hazy for the rest of the night, but yeah, that was a fun one.
That's dedication, bro.
That's dedication, baby.
That's all you need to have in the rap game, man.
Yeah, got to stay dedicated.
Cool. All right, now, if anyone wants to follow you, what's the best way of them doing that?
Best way to follow me, find me on Facebook, Dr. Dr. Hayden.
Not an actual period.
No,
He's not a lady.
No, not yet. I feel like I'm man-straighting, though.
Well, hey, if you want to trans,
got to keep them options.
Change over.
Yeah.
Become a trans, yeah.
But yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Dr. Hayden. If you want to listen to the music, which I highly recommend you do, check out Dr. Hayden on Spotify. My latest album is called Autopsy. There's a lot of cool, dark stuff on there. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, because I do this for myself, but I hope other people can resonate with it. So check me out, listen to one or two songs, see if you like it or not. Send me a message. I always appreciate any fan mail I can get.
He does. And I'm on there.
Yes. That's very cool.
Yeah. It's probably the last song I've ever written
Really?
Yeah, I haven't written anything since that song.
It's solid, though.
Yeah. So that could be valuable. And
there we go.
Yeah. Cool. So before we wrap up, Dr. Hayden is going to spit a verse. You know, he came through last time and spit one of the best verses. Top 5, I reckon, on the entire show.
I'll take that. Thank you.
Top 5 on the entire show. So we'll see if you enjoy this one too. Cool. Yeah.
Big shout out to Reece for having me on the podcast again. Thanks for everybody for listening.
Yeah.
Angels and demon blood cross and attest to. Born agnostic, build a god to confess to. Molest you with the same hand that blessed you. My heart is bleeding till the cardiac arrest do. Distress signals, intercepting minor doubts. And Tom Apollo hung himself from Orion's bout. The hourglass last grain is the final count. Pouring bleach in the gene pool and climbing out. A burning furnace in this turning circus. Disconcerting, darting eyes and whispers make a person nervous. My words are earnest, though I had to earn this. Stay observant, completed purpose when you learn the verdict. Obsessive thoughts are a symptom of condition. Unearth the mastodon and make it listen to remission with the gift of vision. The walking dead question if he's living. Choose a handful of crumbs or some ammunition falling from the sky. Terminal velocity, death is certain, life ain't gotta be. So I'm landing in the web just to break my fall. Landing in the web just to break when I'm falling from the sky. Terminal velocity, death is certain, life ain't gotta be. So I'm landing in the web just to break my fall. Landing in the web just to break. Headspace change like the waves in the tide. Need another picture for this frame of my mind. Dive deep, questing for an answer, waiting patiently. Death is a dream, but forsaking the awakening. Eyes on the clock, watch time accelerate. Ascending memories, thoughts must elevate. Can ascertain if reality exists when reflections in the mirror keep challenging my fist. Who is this? Temples broken down like an enzyme. Words are a parachute right till my pen's dry. No, my dendrites don't light right. Break with the shores on the tides of my life. Dig a trench in the sand, exile an island. Voices in my head just defile the silence. Shoot flares in the sky for a call sign. Viewed from a tower that we're built on a fault line. Falling from the sky, terminal velocity. Dead is certain, life ain't gonna be. So I'm landing in the web just to break my fall. Landed in the web just to break when I'm falling from the sky. Terminal velocity, death is certain, life ain't gonna be. So I'm landing in the web just to break my fall. Landing in the web just to break.
Yeah, that is the show, everyone. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe. And until next time, stay safe. Peace.